Take a look at this for a second. Take a look at this for a second. So, this is Barack Obama. This is back when he was president. And he's about to say something that Trump would be saying right now. And a lot of the Democrats, once upon a time, were all understanding to the immigration crisis. And the fact of the matter that they used to say this back then, comparative to now, where those same Democrats are now screaming against Trump, against ICE, against the people that are cracking down on criminals, cracking down on the criminals, the illegal criminals in the country, and screaming at them, saying, how dare you? This is all racist and xenophobic, and oh my God, how crazy it is. They used to scream at Trump for the Muslim ban, the travel ban, and pointing at the airports. Oh my God, these Arab Americans are trapped at the airport. You know why they're trapped there? Because this guy turned 2 wars into 7 and bombed those countries. And that is why you have immigration running amok, bringing to the United States and exploiting people left, right, and center. But here's what Barack Obama used to say that almost sounds Trump-like. That people today would be screaming at this guy that he's such a right-winger. Listen to this.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up.
So he's saying, if you're a criminal, you will be deported. That's exactly what Trump's doing right now. But right now, people are screaming at Trump and saying, how dare you do that? That's Barack Obama just said that. Barack Obama, when he was president, said that. Listen again.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up.
Your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. He said that back when he was president. He was the biggest deporter in chief. He was the one that built the cages that AOC and the squad cry about. How dare you separate parents from their children at the border? He was the one that built them. He's saying that if you're a criminal crossing the border, your chances of being deported are increasing. This guy said in his presidency, Trump said in his presidency, everyone screams at Trump. Isn't that kind of funny? Isn't that kind of funny?
The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
So he's doing the exact doing everything that every Democrat and every Republican president has done in their lifetime. That's called securing the border. That's called being actually responsible for your country. He's doing everything that normal people would respond to in this. But what Trump does the same thing. Trump is apparently the racist. Trump is the xenophobic. Oh my God, how crazy it is. They're going around and savaging people and grabbing them from workplaces and schools. That's not what's happening. They're going after the criminals. And because of these sanctuary cities that are causing this havoc, that are doing the catch and release of criminal migrants, it makes it even harder of a situation. But not just Barack Obama saying this. Listen to Bill Clinton back in the 90s when he said about illegal aliens. And again, sounds very much Trump-like. Listen to this.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring.
But if Trump says that word by word, verbatim, he's deemed a racist. Bill Clinton openly stated this is a State of Union address. He said, we're going to double down on security. We're going to hire as many border agents, and we're going to deport as many illegal aliens in the country. But again, Trump says the exact same thing, word by word. Trump is apparently the racist, and Bill Clinton's the good guy. Bill Clinton, who said this in the 90s, now does a complete 180 and says, we need to bring these people in because you guys aren't having enough babies. We need a bunch of illegal alien criminals running havoc in our towns and streets because younger generations aren't having families. That's what Bill Clinton said to Trump voters when asked about illegal immigration, compared to what he said as president.
By barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan.
And Hillary Clinton, when she was a senator in New York State, said a very similar thing. Said the exact, very similar thing. That if you're illegal and you're convicted of a crime, you better get the hell out of here. She said the exact similar thing when she was a senator. So Barack Obama said it, Bill Clinton said it, Hillary Clinton said it, and now even Joe Biden, who created this problem within his presidency. This is what he said in 2007 when he was running as a presidential candidate. 2007, presidential candidate Joe Biden says he would not allow sanctuary cities to exist. So Chicago, New York, all these places that are doing the catch and release, he wouldn't allow them to exist in 2007. Something that Republicans stirred up and created. They want the sanctuary cities. Joe Biden wouldn't allow them. Compared to his presidency when he brought them in on planes. He brought people in on charter jets and dropped them off in all these different communities that couldn't handle it. Saying that sanctuary cities to exist, that legal immigration turns places into dumps, and that the federal government must enforce our immigration laws. Again, that's what Trump is doing. That's what Trump's doing right now. But yet everybody's screaming, oh my God, Trump is being this racist for doing this. The thing that every politician has done in their entire career. That the only reason he did a 180 is because the billionaire class handed them a fat check and told them to stay silent. But here's what he said in 2007 during a town hall. Listen to this.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason the cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed the similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing. Everything started to happen. And they changed the policy. Part of
It's like listening from a tale of the past predicting the future. Because what's happening right now? Stores are closing down. There's an increase in shoplifting. There's an increase in crime. Homicide rates are going up. Sexual pervertedness, the sexual abuse of minors is going up. Missing children. This is what Joe Biden said this in 2007. And this is probably the first time I actually want to congratulate Joe Biden for this. Because 99.9% of his rhetoric is awful. It's disgusting. So what happened from that to when he becomes president and brings them in on charter jets, brings in these criminals that have a long-standing history, no documentation, no legal documentation, and pours them into American communities. and allows these sanctuary cities to flourish. What happened? What did the 180 happen? When did he get that big fat check by people like George Soros and the billionaire class to exploit national security? When did it happen? Because he said that in 2007. And now look at today. And the exact same verbiage that Trump is saying is similar to this. Trump is still deemed the racist because people have that Trump derangement syndrome. They can't get out of their head that a orange buffoon game show host is their president. They can't get it out of their head. So what do they become? They become a version of Trump. They become the thing that they rail against Trump. They become racist. They become ignorant. They become xenophobic in their ways. That is amazing. 2007 he said that. So here, this is why Joe Biden said what he did, because Chief Nerd says just in, new study from the Federation for American Immigrant Reform finds U.S. taxpayers paid, get this, $150 billion in 2023 to support the 20 million illegal migrants in the country. 19 U.S. states, including New York, have shelled out in excess over $1 billion for the migrant crisis. They're giving them prepaid credit cards. They're paying for housing. They're paying to get them employed by corporations that could easily hire Americans. And you wonder why so many people, not just white people, but black and brown people, are angered by this. Because they got screwed over so hard by the federal government. Screwed over so hard that now they're just pouring in people and giving them money right in front of their face. Why aren't you bailing out the black communities? Why aren't you bailing out the people that were already here, that are taxpayers, that work endlessly to put a roof over their heads, to feed their families? Where's their bailout? Where's their prepaid credit cards? So you can see here, there's the chart there. And it is amazing. Look at California. California is the top one of that chart with $30.9 billion. $30.9 billion. And yet, they can't afford to keep the fire engines running. They can't afford to get water transported from the northern part to the southern part. They can't afford to get the hydrants working. Because the migrants that they're paying for are breaking down the hydrants to sell for scrap metal. And now Los Angeles, parts of LA, parts of California are burnt to a crisp. $30.9 billion. Texas, $13.4 billion. New York, $9.9 billion. Florida, $8.03 billion. New Jersey, $5.3 billion. Illinois, that we just saw with Dr. Phil, $3.9 billion. Arizona, $3.2 billion. North Carolina, $3.1 billion. So on, so on. It is just an absolute havoc. Financially, physically, for your safety, for your well-being, for the survival of these cities. And again, like places like Springfield, Illinois, or Springfield, Ohio, that just got this huge influx of migrants pouring into their community, that community is already struggling. Springfield, Ohio doesn't have enough services to meet the needs of their own people. So how do you expect them to take a bunch of migrants and flood them into those communities unexpectedly when they don't even have the services to meet the needs of citizens? Because now they're going to need more hospitals. Now they're going to need more schools. They're going to need more services. And a lot of these people that are pouring in, they don't speak English. So you're going to need services to tutor those people to speak English. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? But it's just an absolute havoc. And that's why politicians back in the day made such a big deal about it. Until there was some sort of transformative shift. Like I said, some billionaire gave them a big fat check. And they just did a complete 180. Now all of a sudden, migrants are good because the population is low. Migrants are good because they're doing the jobs that Americans won't do. Now they're making up ridiculous excuses for this craziness, for the absurdity of this. Here in Chicago, residents flooded the city hall meeting and went off on Mayor Brandon Johnson for protecting illegals and call on Trump and Tom Homan to make an example out of this blank right here first. Mayor Johnson immediately cut the lady's mic off after she said that. The Mayor Johnson, that's part of this human exploitation that I'm sure is getting huge amounts of backing from billionaires like J.P. Pritzker, Mr. Real Billionaire. He is undermining the people of Chicago purposely to protect the illegal migrant criminals that are turning Chicago even worse. And here's what Chicago residents had to say about this. Listen.
Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first. Because you know what? We're going to help you. We want to forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you keep your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time.
You told Trump you ain't going to blink? Well, we ain't either. You ain't above the law. And where you going to run to when Trump pulls that Trump card out on you?
There's a 10-year prison sentence when you want to stand up here for those illegals.
You all sit up there and said you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals.
So this mayor, Brandon Johnson, because he's a sanctuary city mayor, is preventing Trump and ICE and police officers to round up the illegal criminals. He's preventing it. He's preventing it. And it's making it worse for Chicago because that taxpayer money that could have went to making sure schools are functioning, I heard they shut down like 54 schools to house illegal criminals. And they're going after criminals. They're going after people that are convicted with multiple felonies. And Brandon Johnson is protecting them, not protecting Chicago, not protecting the taxpaying citizens. They're being abused. They're being abused. But Brandon Johnson is protecting the criminal activity because I'm sure he's getting backed by some billionaire oligarch, maybe J.B. Pritzker, I don't know, to allow this to continue. And that is why he's standing up there just arrogant and just like, oh, well, cut the mic off. These citizens that are concerned about safety and want their taxpaying dollars go towards services. How dare they?
Yeah, you can smile. We're in a $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaign and double down that you would not raise property taxes. I ain't gonna do that. You campaign went around doing that. And here we are right now. You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first. Because you know what? We're going to help you. We want to forensic.
Ma'am, I would ask that you
keep
your, hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Stop her time. Ma'am,
See, that's where you get the arrogant, typical scumbag politician. Hold a second. Stop her time. Stop. Ma'am, calm down. I'm going to tone police you. Everything you're saying is kind of right, but I'm going to tone police you because you're making a bad example of this. This is city council, damn it. We have a respectful pace here. And we want to exploit people with true dignity. This guy is putting Chicago, the city of Chicago, through a deficit worth billions to protect illegal aliens, to protect illegal criminal migrants that are purposely exploiting Chicago. And taxpayer dollars have already wasted away on this. And now they're asking for these citizens that are already struggling to begin with, have been struggling for decades in Chicago, to cough up more money to protect the migrants. Nobody's protecting them. No one's protecting Chicago residents. They're protecting the illegal migrants, the human trafficking that Brandon Johnson, that J.B. Pritzker, that all these people are complacent of.
would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay? All right.
You gotta make sure your language is appropriate. Why? Because she made it an actual point that you are a prick? You are the exact reason that Chicago is a goddamn mess? That the whole city has been compromised by your insidious neglect against Chicago residents to protect this human exploitation scam that all the other presidents, every other president, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, have all stated that they wanted to enforce a law to protect citizens from illegal criminal aliens. And the minute that Trump goes to power, gets voted in for that mandate, and goes into power to enforce that, everybody starts calling him You're calling him a racist and trying to shut it out. Because you're a scam artist. You're standing up on stage as the Chicago mayor as a goddamn scam artist. Because you're part of this human exploitation that the people of Chicago suffered and are now have to pay arm and leg for this disaster that's making the city even worse. And you notice none of the taxpayer dollars are going towards healthcare, education, fixing the roads and infrastructure for the people of Chicago. 54 schools shut down. 54 schools shut down. What does that say about the current state of your city and the fact you would stand there with a smug, arrogant look at a resident's face and tell her to shut off her mic? You need to use appropriate language. How arrogant is this guy? And Chicago knows it. So here's also to add to this, because frankly, the whole situation is corrupted. The whole situation even outside of Brandon Johnson. So Mark points out that Brandon Johnson is working hard to earn that America's Worst Mayor title. His only competition at this point might be in the state. And look at the headline here. Illinois Democratic Mayor Tiffany Haynard charges taxpayers $85,000 for a party amid financial investigation. So these are all scumbags. These are people purposely put in position to exploit people like us, to exploit the working class, to exploit the hard-working Americans and Canadians and all these people. They're put in position to purposely undermine and exploit us for their own riches, to benefit their donor class, to benefit the billionaire class. That is why all this is happening, folks. And like I stated, I just want to know exactly at what point that Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and all these other Democrats that were for the capture of illegal criminal aliens, to quote Bill Clinton, want to capture them and deport them in a legal setting. When all that changed? When did that all go away? When did exactly that big giant check from a billionaire buy them out to now say, oh, we need these people because, not enough people are making babies. Oh, we need these people because they're doing the jobs that Americans don't want. Because people are so lazy. They're watching Saved by the Bell. That's why they're so stupid. That's why we need H-1B visas to replace everybody. When exactly was that moment? Because they said it back in the day. And now they're doing a complete 180. And if Trump says the exact same thing, he's deemed the racist that every single president, every single administration said previously.